Welcome to SF Commercial Property Conversations with Bruce Bean, where Bay Area investments meet expert insights. Get ready to unlock the strategies of commercial real estate success.
Today we have Jonathan Mitchell. He's a developer from San Diego. And Jonathan, it's great to have you on. I'd just love to kind of hear how you got into the whole development world and your background of how that happened.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Bruce. I was happy when you guys reached out. It took a couple months, but we got here, so stoked for that. So born and raised in San Diego. Sales and marketing came relatively easy to me. Traveled a bit, been in 45 countries, and when I kind of got home and said, "Hey, I need to get my life together," I started working at a huge Verizon developer, a huge Verizon dealer. And kind of worked my way up into management, learned, the sales ropes. And then from there, started selling alarms. And then from there, got into solar, started knocking doors, Bruce, and built a company. So bootstrapped it, didn't know what I didn't know. And it was a good emerging market. So we did about 127 million in the top line of that company over about 8 years, and 60 trucks on the road, 401k for our people, and Kaiser, the whole thing. And then COVID hit us pretty hard because we're in a blue state here in California, as you know. But I'd invested in real estate, early. And the end game for me was never to be a solar contractor. No offense. I know a lot of people in that game and knew everyone in the game at the time. But, I just like real estate, being able to lever, buy assets. People need places to live. It's just a fun game. Grew up playing Monopoly. And I decided to go all in when Synergy ended, and then we built a team. My partners are amazing. Recruited a guy from Florida, actually, a general contractor, 20 years. Moved all the way across the country to San Diego, and we got humming, man.
So you started the solar business was in Florida?
San Diego. We had an office in San Diego. We had an office in the East Bay as well, up in Brentwood and Antioch.
Wow.
We had two offices. Not at the same time, but we moved. And then we had one in Central Valley as well. We also had one in Colorado. So we had 4 offices.
Wow.
Yeah, my overhead, my fixed cost, part of the reason why COVID hit us so hard was because, just for my office space was $25K a month.
Oh, wow.
You can't pull permits and you got all those trucks on the road. You got all those employees. It's brutal, man. It was a brutal time.
Yeah. Even PPP didn't save you.
No, not with that payroll. Our biggest payroll was $280K for 2 weeks, man. It was a real company.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. I never realized that COVID would have hit a solar company like that, but it makes perfect sense that all of a sudden you can't do anything. You can't go in houses. You can't talk to people.
Can't pull permits. LA used to have, they would let their checks sit for 2 weeks to pull permits. And I had 3 permit runners. All they did all day was run permits. And yeah, man, it was a rough time, brother, as we all know.
Yeah, no, not pretty. So then you had some real estate development or real estate before that time, and you kind of continued on after that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about me, Bruce, we were talking offline, as I said, I'm a Christian in training. I just love the process of sort of what God can do. And I don't want to make this, a spiritual sitting, but it is a part of my life. I'm a faith-based guy. And, I've seen so many people with stories of just coming off the street, hooked on drugs, and they get involved in a church community and God can turn them into something awesome. So I kind of take that and say, hey, real estate's similar in certain ways, right? There's a lot of people driving down the street and they might see a bomb, which, would be a distressed property. And they're like, oh, look at that. That's making the value of my property less. But us as investors, I drive it and I drive down the street and I say, look at that beautiful piece of property. I wonder who owns it. Let's buy it. Let's fix it up. Let's make a little money.
Yeah. So are you looking into enterprise zones or what are you up to?
No, we don't really dabble in the opportunity zones and stuff like that. Our bread and butter is buy distressed properties, usually 1 to 4 units. We will fix them up, rehab them. We'll put a tenant in, and then we'll cover our float, and then we develop the property in-house. So we'll get the soft costs and all that, the development approved, topos, soil samples, boundary surveys, whatever we need. We'll draw the plans, we'll draft them, and then we'll submit them to the city. We get the permit, and then we build in-house. We have 2 separate brands. We have our general contracting brand, and then we have ADU Pals, which is our forward-facing brand.
So does that mean you basically buy a property, you fix it up, but then eventually you tear it down and start over, put more
We,
units in?
we generally don't, because for us, it's, if glass half empty, we always have that asset. And we generally operate in San Diego. I'd say 98% of where we operate is in San Diego, our market. We know the market really well. So worst case scenario, we have an asset in San Diego if it all goes to crap. So, houses in San Diego are anywhere from 800 to $1 million, you'd say, on average. So worst case scenario, like I said, it all goes bad. They change the laws on us somehow. We have that asset on the downside, and then we build additional density in our larger lots in San Diego. And the cool thing about San Diego is it's different from the rest of the ADU world. California generally, Bruce, is one and ones, we call them.
Hmm.
You get a new ADU per the law in 19 from Newsom, the state law, and then you get the junior ADU. But in San Diego, they leaned in, and now we can stack them. So we're building significantly more ADUs on a lot. There's projects with hundreds of units of ADUs, like big
Really?
multi. Yes,
Wow.
people don't know that, but it's a big thing, and that's kind of what's happening right now with the legislation. There was we actually spoke at the city council meeting, recently, and there's been some people that are unhappy, some NIMBYs we'll call them, but there's been also some bad actors, right? They've taken advantage, and so there's some negotiating going back and forth. But generally, I think they're going to reduce the amount you can put on a residential lot. But we don't operate in residential. Generally, we operate in multifamily lots where we're able to still stack, and that's what the master zoning calls for anyways. So
But are you using modular units or you're doing stick built?
we're doing stick build. We've looked into modular units. When you're an investor and you're dealing with large amounts of capital and a lot of touch points, you want to try to limit those touch points, right? Because those
Mm.
become exposure. And so when you're dealing with another group, and we've looked into modulars. We have a lot of friends that are in that space and have utilized it, but it's another entity, and they have to build the thing. So they have to have production. They have to have their systems in place. They have to be able to deliver. And then you have to have QA, QC, because you're not building it. You don't have eyes on the ground right there. When it gets there, something wrong, you have to send it back. It could be a problem. And also, often they don't come exactly how you want. And then again, you have to fit these into certain areas. And, I would say San Diego is a purple leaning blue city.
Hmm.
But we're very, very pro development, which is an interesting, very unique niche.
Wow.
Um, but also, there's still some laws, some hoops you got to jump through, and then, trying to get those modular units to fit. When we pencil the numbers from our position, it's about even for even now, and we'd rather just have control at this point. But we'll see how it goes in the future with the modulars.
Yeah, no, if you go back and listen to Patrick Kennedy's podcast from last summer, he's a developer up here in San Francisco, and he became sort of world famous for his micro units that were modular in San Francisco. But even he is not all that keen on modular. It's just too many headaches involved. So anyway,
Another exposure point, right? And I mean, if I'm the
mm,
kind of like an operator in my heart, so like it's like, how close can I get to the modular company? Can I invest in one? Can I buy one? Can we become partners in it? And then we can sort of filter through some of that and make sure we're first on the list, right? So, I mean, again, we've looked into it, but right now, and I think the exit value too, right? So, generally speaking, I don't think the public's really accepted modular homes. I think they relate them a lot to mobile homes and trailers in a way
right,
still.
right,
And so
right.
stick built is sort of easier to it mitigates some conversations and some risk, I think.
Yeah, no, the conversations can be difficult, just getting people in the right headspace to accept it. So anyway, may not be worth the brain damage. So anyway, but so is your ideal property like a fourplex in a great neighborhood that's maybe not in great shape, the famous worst house in best neighborhood kind of a
Yes, we love that. And it could be one, it could be two, it could be three. Try, a duplex, a quad, that's fine. We'll buy bigger too. The problem in San Diego is it's super competitive.
Mm,
So, and the first rule of real estate is you got to buy right, right? So, we're generally looking for 1 to 4. We can get really good debt on those deals, and then our bread and butter is anywhere from adding like let's say 2 to 12 units.
mm.
So you end up with a total yield of on average probably anywhere from 8 to 12. That's where we are now. We don't want to bite off more than we can chew. With solar, I sort of it was go, 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 top line, top line, top line. And, bigger's not always better, brother. So we've
Yeah.
learned from that, and we're going to, we have clients that are building bigger because we also do this as a service, adupals.com. And we do it for our clients. And we have some guys that are building bigger, and we've built some bigger stuff, but generally speaking, our bread and butter is right there. We call them, singles and doubles, man. Singles and doubles win games.
Right. Ichiro. Let's go with
Oh
Ichiro.
yeah,
Those
man.
hits, man. Just
Absolutely. Got to get
hit,
on
hit,
base, man.
hit. Yeah, absolutely. So I can understand completely. So you're a Padres fan, I assume?
Huge Padres fan.
All right. All right. So how are you finding properties? Are you just basically going out to the market, or are you doing some marketing and sales or research on your own to find properties?
Yeah, so finding good deals is obviously what everyone wants to know. For us, we're just now bringing acquisition in house.
Oh,
We run a meetup. If you're ever in San Diego, it's on the Meetup app. It's called Deeds, Deals, and Drinks out of Little Italy, where we operate. So we bring the community together. We do it a little bit different. It's not just drinks and networking. We also have a speaker. So it'll be some value add, no sales, but they just come in and essentially explain their story, kind of like we're doing now. We ask a bunch of questions, and there's a Q&A for the public, and then we do networking a little bit before and after. So we bring the community together. We know a lot of brokers and agents in San Diego, a ton of wholesalers. So deal flow is not a problem for us. We're seeing about 50 to 60 deals a week right now. But
wow.
unfortunately, Bruce, there's a lot of the juice is off those deals. So you have to be really conservative when you're picking. We're also operating, our business. So we have, bandwidth as far as time, and resources. So, we're trying to buy as many deals as we can. We have strong capital partners, but that's how we're doing it now. And, marketing, I'm very active on social media, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, as we were talking about Facebook. Just trying to conquer the X world. That's a crazy, crazy world. If you haven't been in there, I related it to like walking into an underground rave at 2 a.m. and you're the only sober person there. So it takes a little while to acclimate. But X can be a good avenue for us, and we're doing some online marketing stuff as well.
So you're finding mostly properties through the online marketing, or you're finding capital on that side?
Yeah, we found both. I think at the end of the day, real estate is a relationship game.
Yeah.
So the more you do, like, you got to get in the game. We've heard it over and over and over. You got to get started. You got to join a group. You got to start networking. You got to go to meetups. You got to start talking to people, go on bigger pockets. You got to start doing the thing. And then eventually
Right.
you're going to have to get some money together and buy something. And then you just start to learn. And so
Yeah.
you can find sellers by buying property. They're like, oh,
Right.
you're buying this one. I want to sell 4 more. But until you get going, you don't have those opportunities. And obviously then when you buy a property, then wholesalers know you're buying, brokers know you're buying. As you buy and more and build more, and you market that stuff and show that, hey, we're active in the market, then you get more opportunities.
So out of your 50 properties per week, what do you look at, 1 or 2 maybe seriously?
So I don't know the exact numbers as of now. We've analyzed, as of a couple of weeks ago, our CFO said 200 deals, and we bought 1. The deals that come through, the majority of them don't even make it to the analytical stage. They're just automatic passes. And then we just narrow that down. We have a weekly call. And then the deals that we feel like we should, take a crack at, then you obviously have to negotiate. Then there's competition, et cetera. So again, the solve for us there is to keep getting better deals, keep getting closer to sellers. And that just comes with, again, time in the saddle, marketing, and then doing the job as you perform. People tell people. So
are you running these properties through a spreadsheet, or just kind of a intuitive look at them? What are you using for your analytics?
yeah, great question. So, I mean, the more if you don't have a spreadsheet, you have to get one, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have an underwriting tool, you have to get one. But then
Yeah.
you learn the underwriting tool, and as your buy box continues to, get smaller, it's like, if you've read a book 30 times, you kind of know what's going to happen, or seen a movie 15 times, you kind of know what's going to happen. So you can analyze those deals really quickly in your mind. And if they make it through the initial process, then you have to put them in. Then you have to start like putting them through your tool, your deal, de-risker or underwriting tool. and then you start looking at the numbers, because obviously when you start deploying capital, time, energy, resources, you want to be buying right.
Yeah, no, that's a great system. So as you get better and better at it, hopefully you get also better and better properties coming through the pipeline, and then things start to kind of multiply from there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So just for fun, what's your favorite food?
We talked a bit about it offline. So I try to stay healthy. I ran a half Ironman last year, 70.3. I ran my first marathon a couple years ago. I try to take care of my body. I'm getting a little bit older. So I could crush some pizza, as we talked about. We have a ice cream company down here called Handles. I don't know if it's up in the Bay, but
No, not
I
that I
can
know of.
crush some ice cream as well. So if I'm really going for it, it's going to be pizza and ice cream. But generally speaking, I'm a steak and potatoes guy. Before this egg shortage, I used to eat eggs every day, but I might give them up now. Love eggs, but yeah, I generally try to eat pretty healthy. What about you? I didn't ask you, Bruce. What's your favorite
Oh,
food?
that's an interesting question. I love steamed vegetables, but I got to have some protein with it. So,
Got you,
any
man.
kind of chicken or steak or
Some
whatever
lemon,
is with it.
lemon chicken.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. So anyway, there's a great sandwich right over here near us from Beach Hut Deli, which you probably have. I think Beach Hut started in San Diego. So
Might have.
yeah, anyway, they have a great sandwich called a Santa Cruz sandwich, which has got, avocado and you can add bacon and so forth. So anyway, fun sandwich. So anyway, well, this is a great conversation. I just am curious. It doesn't sound like are your marketing people doing cold calling?
No, we don't have cold calling yet. We will,
Ah,
with our new group. We're also looking at some AI stuff. I think AI obviously is a powerful tool if you can get around it, or figure it out. So yeah, we're going to do some of that. And like I said, we're literally just right now bringing our acquisition team. We're going to build it out. We will start doing some calling, some direct mail, that kind of stuff, sort of more
yeah.
direct to seller marketing channels.
So how many people do you have working with you right now?
So we have our executive team, which there's three of us. We have our lead architect and project manager. He's been a
Oh,
licensed
wow.
general contractor since 18. He's also a very, very well versed general contractor. And then we have two designers,
Oh,
um,
wow.
and we have some VAs, and then we have our new acquisitions person,
Yeah.
Elisa, who was super stoked on to come on board. So yeah, we're keeping our team small, man. Like I told you before, I had
Yeah.
115 W-2 employees in California and Colorado, man.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a big company.
Lot of mouths to feed, brother.
Yeah, big flywheel. And when the wheels come off, it comes off fast. So
Oh
uh,
yeah.
hopefully we
So
won't
we
have to go.
we want to be Navy SEALs, not an army, is kind of what we say. We want to be able to pivot. Everyone knows their role. It limits the amount of meetings you have, and our goal is to own real estate. Our team, like, we want to own real estate, and so that's essentially everything that we look at is through the lens of, is this going to help us with our goal, which is to own more real estate, not to be a bigger, top line company and be sexier online. Like, that's not our goal. We want to own and operate real estate in San Diego.
Yeah,
Pick
you
up more
kind of,
clients and build affordable housing. Those are our goals as
oh,
well.
yeah. Yeah, great, great goals. Yeah. So have you gotten into the tax credit world at all?
Yeah. So being from the solar world, I understand tax credits, pretty intensely. Where we operate, or I should say more in depth, where we operate, it's not really needed. The LIHTCs, but we've looked at some of that stuff, because you kind of have to build at scale to really sort of, utilize some of those grants and federal incentives and even local stuff.
Yeah.
We already get a really good program just with the affordable density, bonuses that we get in San Diego. So we're helping the community, and we're helping ourselves. And I didn't tell you this, Bruce, but I'm a Section 8 welfare kid, so I didn't grow up with
Oh,
much,
wow.
and
Oh,
so I
wow.
have sort of a separate drive to be able to help people that, they maybe need a little help. So they still, they go to work, and maybe they're just not a doctor or a lawyer, or a
Right.
middle income earner, but they still need a place to live.
Exactly. So how is San Diego handling the parking situation?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when they came out with these laws, essentially, the city's master plan is to make the city just more transit oriented.
Mm,
So you get density bonuses the closer you are to transit. So
right.
a lot of people, developers leaned in. They were like, "What? We don't have to have parking." But
Mm,
what you'll find is that the more experience you get, the longer you're in the saddle. Parking is really important for your tenants, for the city, and so you may get less density, but you're going to get happier tenants. And then obviously the institutional guys or the guys that are buying a lot of these assets on the backside, even the bigger ones,
mm.
they want parking as well because they're going to hold these assets and put them into their into their fund and have them for a long time. So they want happy tenants. So I would say that it's something that we're always looking at through the lens of what's the best utility for this area where we are. Should we have parking? Should we not? How much parking? Then obviously you have to make the numbers work. On the debt and equity side.
Are you doing any senior housing at all?
Not currently, but we've looked into that as well, and also transitional housing.
Mm.
There's lots of stuff, VA housing, but only so many hours in a day, man.
Well, and as again, you got to keep your focus going on what exactly you're going after. So,
Yeah,
you
you can't chase the shiny thing all the time because you'll find out sometimes, man, like those raccoon traps from that book where the red fern grows, that it may not always be the answer.
yeah, yeah, stay with what's working. So, and then branch out if you can, but yeah, got to be careful. So, well, this was fantastic. So, Jonathan, where can people get a hold of you?
I'm on Instagram, Jonathan Mitchell RE for real estate, JONATHAN MITCE. What is my name? MITCHELLRE. And I'm on Instagram, Jonathan Mitchell, and then we're at www.adupals.com. I also have a podcast called Skip the Lines. Nowhere near your numbers. I think I'm at 43, I think. But we have awesome guests, and check it out.
Definitely will. Definitely will. We can share some guests down the line here, I'm sure.
Love it.
All right. Well, it's great to have you. I look forward to talking to you again sometime in the very near future.
Thanks for reaching out, Bruce. It's been great, brother.
Talk to you soon.
That's a wrap on today's journey through the SF commercial real estate scene. Ready to share your story? Visit sfcommercialconversations.com/guest. Your insights could lead the next conversation.